I don't even want to give advice to anybody, honestly.
Are you serious? Like, can you actually do that?
I don't have Instagram on my phone. Versus product design, I'd say that there are a lot of moving parts in product design. Plus, you have to talk to a lot of people when you're getting a product deal. They already used to pay me like 25,000 a month. After COVID, they take 15,000 a month.
Yeah.
I internalized that it's okay. You can make mistakes and you'll be stupid and you can write whatever you and you remove bullshit from your life. Basically.
This is the one I'm sharing to a lot of my lazy friends. I'm going to be like, see, bro, be inspired, work, man. Kevlar Studios, where the magic flows. Creativity 16, 9 inspiration every time. All right, YouTube. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to our Kevlar show. And we just had our designers come over here and talk about, a whole lot of things, not just limited to designing, but also their life. And that's a great way to meet new people, even for us as Kevlar Studios, as a part of something bigger. And even for you to build your networks and talk to someone or learn from someone rather, who has been doing this for a while now. Introducing Shreya Heda. So, hello Shreya, how are you doing?
Hi Chinmay, I'm good. How are you?
If I instantly ask you, please say one word to our audience right now, what would that be?
One word?
Yeah. Except hello, okay?
Start.
Start. Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah.
So would you like to elaborate why would you say that? Like, why start?
I think we all wait to be a little more perfect, a little more, I should know this or I should know that. So I'd say just start.
Yeah. Just start. Okay.
You said one word, so I said start. Otherwise, I would have said just start.
Okay. Also, I see photo frames right behind you. So, what importance do they hold?
Okay, so these are actually my. Okay, I can't say it. I guess 1 sec. They're actually my boyfriend's frames. He made me hang them up there.
Okay.
But that's Bob Dylan, Einstein, and Steve Jobs. So this guy, when I went to print him, he said, "Oh," the printer was like, "Oh, is this Rabindranath Tagore?" No, that's Einstein. Yeah. So he is very inspired by Bob Dylan and his legacy. And Einstein obviously is great and he's the world of physics and everything. And Steve Jobs, we all know why he's so great. Yeah. So they're like a source of inspiration.
So we just had a few questions listed up and they're very technically framed, okay? But the purpose behind that is to have a comprehensive question so that you have you can answer some questions which have been sent to us by the community and we have framed them in this way. So starting out with some openings and stories, you have had 6+ years in design and 3+ years in specializing in product design. So could you share with us your design journey, like how it all started, how it all came to be? And then what led you to focus on this product design segment?
Okay. So starting from how did I decide to pursue design? It was honestly like I've always taken an approach of elimination without knowing that this was a way you take decisions. But when I was in 10th or so, you had to decide like what do you want to do afterwards, right?
Yeah.
Like science or arts, what do you want to do? So I come from Belgaum, which is I think a 3-tier city, I guess. So there was no arts college. So I was like, science I don't want to do because I don't want to be an engineer. I don't want to be a doctor.
Yeah.
What else is left? So after commerce, I started looking at what do people do after commerce. So I was like, CA, no, I don't want to be a CA. BCom, I didn't even know what people do after BCom. And I was not good at public speaking. I hated public speaking. So I had to do something that I could do on my own. Like just, do whatever I like on my own. And I like to I like to do deep work. Like I like to work for a long period of time on something. So I used to do that a lot while I was painting. So I was like, okay, let me do something artistic. But then I didn't want to do architecture either because I hated physics. Absolutely. Like, I had a fear of physics, honestly, mostly more than hating it. So yeah, it was like, and then a senior of mine from school had joined a design college. So I'm like, oh, you can study design as a career.
Yeah.
That's when I learned that design can be pursued as a career. So that's when I started. And then I was like, what's the easiest way without friction to design? So I'm like, you just need 10+2. So if there's a good arts college in Belgaum, I would have probably done arts. But since there was no arts college, I did commerce, and that's how it started basically.
Mm-hmm.
And then how our college was structured was, it was 4 years, and the first year was foundation, where they give you they let you dabble in a lot of different stuff to choose what you actually like. I think engineering is also, I think, structured.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So
even I'm an engineer, so
yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
So they let us do all sorts of things, and I was always afraid of computers also. I studied in a state board school actually. I never used a computer. Like, I did not even know how to switch a computer on. So I was like, fuck no, I'll do something that I can do with my hands so that I don't have to open the computer ever again, like a fear of computers. I'm like, okay, let me do something that I can do with my hands, which is why I started like leaning towards interior design and furniture design, which was like never ever thought of what I would do after that. I was just like, okay, now let me do it. Like, let me do something that I can do with my hands. Yeah, that's why I got into furniture and interior. Interior seemed a little bit too much. Like, it felt like I couldn't control as much design as I wanted to. Like, I felt like interior, there would be a lot of external influence to making an interior space. So I felt like I could control more design on a furniture piece. Like, that would have my complete say.
Yeah. So would you say there's a lack of creative freedom in furniture design or interior design?
So I felt more lack of freedom, like lack of freedom for expressing creativity in interior, because you're designing somebody's home, right? Like, you obviously want it to be done the way they want it to be done.
Yeah.
You give inputs, you can do a beautiful job at it, but then it's mostly still defined by the person who's
the
getting
requirements. Yeah.
And I was just noticing a lot of like Pinterest rip-offs and all of that. So I didn't want to go towards that. And then I saw like furniture more of like an art piece. If they want to buy it, they'll buy it. If they don't want to buy it, they won't buy it.
Yeah.
So at least you get to make what you want. So yeah, then that's how I ended up choosing furniture. Like, I started focusing more on furniture. And then as soon as I got out of college, I realized that there's a thing called placements, and something that design college does not offer that much. So we were left to like look for jobs on our own. So I started like DMing people on Instagram, DMing people on LinkedIn. And then I just got into some furniture design firm in Pune actually.
Oh.
Then it was fun. Like, it was definitely fun. It was a lot of like going back and forth from the factory to the studio to the carpenter shop to the upholstery shop to go get samples and everything. But like I did that for a year, 2 years, but it was a lot. Like, it was a lot of like just going around here and there, right? I felt like I was not using my time well. And then after a point, it started seeming very easy. Like, I felt like, okay, I'll just sketch a chair and I'll get it made. It was not challenging enough, honestly. So I thought, should I do a master's? I don't know why I thought that at that time. But then I was like, okay, let me do a master's. Maybe that will be more challenging. So I started like preparing for master's while I was working as a furniture designer. And that was, I think, when I was 22, 23.
Okay.
So that's when I thought, okay, let me do a master's. So I started preparing while working. And then I did get into a college also. It's called the University of Arts London. It's a great college and everything. Yeah, but I got into furniture design. And then I was like, okay, we have to go. So Jan 2020, I got into college. And then September 2020, I had to leave. COVID happened, of course. And then I just started seeing how it started affecting physical businesses, right? Like, they already used to pay me like 25,000 a month. After COVID, they're like, take 15,000 a month. I'm like, no, let me not do a job, because 15,000 a month is just like...
It's insulting at a point, yeah.
I'm like, let's not. Like, I was like, no, I don't want to do this. And around that time, my parents are actually like, okay, what about marriage? You're 20. I think I was 24. I'm not sure. So I was like, okay, I have to go for a master's. Otherwise, my parents are going to be like, get married.
Yeah.
Thankfully, COVID hit, and thankfully, I had really short hair that time. Coincidentally. So that thing didn't pan out. The marriage thing didn't go too far, because my hair was really short. Like, I almost looked like a small boy. So yeah, that's how I actually I was like, every business is going almost down the drain. Nobody wants to buy furniture, and we didn't know how long COVID would last, right? And then I just started backtracking my decisions, and then I spoke to the architect who was the principal designer where I was working, and I was like, Amita, can you be really honest? Can you tell me how long it took you to be financially stable? She was 35 at that time, when she was 10 years older to me, so that time I was 24. She was like, it took me 10 years. I was like, what? 10 years? 10 years is a lot. And and she had a lucky break almost, because like she was a partner in the firm that had like 11 other men, and she was a partner. So it was like 12 people in the same firm. It's actually called Magari. Like I used to work at Magari. It's in Bangalore. And that was almost like a lucky break, because one of the people had a hotel, like chain of hotels. One of the people had a kitchen, like a kitchen setup business. Another had like fabric business. One of them had a building in Indiranagar. So it still all came together for it to start. But then if it took her 10 years after that also, like I was like, that's a little bit too much. And I don't have all these kind of connections right now.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, this is like a lot. And then plus, if I start on my own, eventually I wanted to start on my own because a job made no sense. Because I had some like 35-year-old people working in the office. They used to make like 50K a month. So I was like, okay, though, this is not sustainable in Bangalore. Like as a single person in Bangalore at the age of 23, I was not able to make it at 25,000 salary. It was too. So I was like, at 30, I just imagine that, like obviously I'll have a family or whatever. I'll be married by that time. Like I'll have so many expenses. How will I go with it? So that's when I started thinking of, is this feasible? Like if I start my own thing, I'll need a factory. I'll need machinery. I'll need storage. I'll need materials. I'll need carpenters. I'll need so many things. Then I have to do a lot of other stuff apart from design to start my own furniture design studio. So that's when I was like, I think it's not a great decision to go down this road. And then so that's like, that was how far I had thought of this. And then my friends at that time had started doing UX design and service design. And they had they were from the same field as me, but they had switched because they realized early on that this is stupid. Like they did one internship and they realized that this is dumb. so they switched ASAP. And then like they were 1 year into UX design by the time I realized that this is stupid. So that's how I started understanding from them. And then the second time around when I started doing this, like when I started self-learning UX design, I thought that I don't want to spend more money on education now, because design college in India is already quite expensive. Like it was 20 lakhs, I think, for 4 years, which is a lot compared to other colleges. So I was like, this time, I don't know. And I barely made anything after that. Like after college, after 2 years, like when I worked for 2 years, I was taking more money from home, honestly. Like I was not making anything. So it was like horrible ROI. So I was like, this time I'll try to do it in as cheap as possible. That was my only goal. I was like, it'll take me 1 year longer maybe, but I want to do it in as cheap as possible.
Yeah.
And COVID honestly was a great time to do it, because I don't think it gave me like a nice vacuum to immerse myself in this new thing. And then I thought that, okay, if I do a master's also, I'll do a master's from India. I'll not go outside, because again, like I want to save on the costs.
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, let me do a master's. If I don't get into master's, at least I'll get to learn something. And then master's will have like a fixed deadline, right? Like if I have to give this exam, I have to know something.
Yeah.
So it was a nice goalpost. Like in hindsight, when I look at it, I feel like it's a nice goalpost. It was very sad that I didn't get into college, honestly. But then now when I think about it, it gave me the motivation to at least keep myself accountable and on track.
Yeah.
That happened. I didn't get into college. I got an internship instead. And then here I am.
Okay. Yeah. So one thing I noticed is you talked about loving deep work, right? So first question is, how can a person get into this phase of deep work and then a phase of flow, the flow state, which people like to call it? And then how did COVID help you out in this particular flow state? Like how influential was it? Like a 2-part question.
Okay, so as a child, I guess I'm always like a person who used to work in silos, which is not a great thing as a designer, honestly, in the start. But I used to I used to hate like collaborating with people, because I was just extremely underconfident. I would hate it to collaborate with others. So I was already of the sort that I used to study. Like I was fairly a good student in school, so I was a very meticulous student even. So I think that was my personality since childhood. And then during COVID, I was feeling very behind. Like I was feeling like, what am I doing with my life? I'm going to switch my career at 25. What am I doing? So to not deal with all that, I had deleted all my social media, like no LinkedIn, no Instagram, no Facebook, Snapchat, nothing. I didn't want it. Like I was like, let me figure stuff out and then I'll be back. Plus I told you my hair was really short, so it was growing. I was already looking extremely ugly that time. So I'm like, oh, what is the point of being on social media? I deleted everything. So that definitely helped with how distracted you get, right? Like there was no point of using the phone. My phone would like be lying around in the house, wherever. So Like that one thing was already very helpful. Plus, like I was so confused that I did not even want to talk to my friends at that point in time. Like I felt like I was just like lagging and falling behind, and I was feeling very what do you call it? Like almost like very underconfident and very like I was doubting myself and everything. I was in a place where I was getting influenced very easily. So I didn't want that. I was like, okay, now that I've decided that I'm going to do it, so for 1 year, I don't want more opinions. Let me try this for a year without any outside opinions. I think it was already a big decision to take. So if I got a lot more opinions, then I would have got very confused.
More confused, yeah.
So that's what I wanted. So that definitely helped with focusing and getting more like free time, like uninterrupted time. So that definitely helped me a lot back then. And now, honestly, I have no option. Like there is so much work that I have to put my head down and do it, because otherwise I'll just be awake in the night doing it. So now I have no option, and I'm a person who likes to like sit alone and work. So I try to find a corner in the office, or like try to find a conference room that's empty and go in there and work. So yeah, that's what I do. I use music, I use headphones or whatever. Like I ask people actively not to disturb me for at least some time. So yeah,
Can you elaborate on what kind of music?
So it's called binaural beats. So Brain.fm has this thing called binaural beats, and it's apparently like I think 440 hertz of frequency of music or something. I read the science behind it, but I forgot. But that definitely gets you in the zone.
So like I like to do that too. I feel like when I'm working alone, like when I'm by myself, and then when something just snaps and something just hits you in the head and you have like a eureka moment, I feel like that is very hard to get, and the punch you get, the kick you get out of that is very hard to get in a team, is what I personally feel like.
I guess it also depends a lot on the kind of work you're doing. Like I guess if you're a writer or something, I guess yes, that makes sense. As a designer, yes, like you have both. You have like a lot of collaboration and a lot of like alone work that you have to do, especially if you're an IC, right?
So why collaboration? Can you elaborate on that? Like how do designers collaborate?
Yeah, for for example, when I was working alone, when I was a solo designer at a startup, that time I used to have to collaborate with the product person about what do they want, like what do they want exactly. So that time it was not so much collaboration, but it was still like at least catching up at least for an hour a day every day to understand what do they want. And since I was so new that I did not know anything, as to keep like, is this okay? Like, am I going in the right direction? I did not to like waste a lot of time. Just to make sure that every half day I was at least catching up two times a day.
Yeah.
Make sure that I was on track. I didn't want to fall in the trap of like working alone for 2 days and then finding out that I'm doing something very random. So collaboration when I was a solo designer was in that way. Then when I moved to a bigger company, it was like collaborating with the product manager, collaborating with the engineer, collaborating with the QA. So that sort of collaboration, plus getting feedback from designers on your own designs. As a designer, I still feel like you don't have to like all the time be collaborating. I feel like 1 to 2 hours of collaboration a day is more than enough. For me, I've noticed that. But some people like to get a lot of feedback. Like they do a little bit design, they go get feedback. So I think it depends on the kind of personality you have also.
Yeah.
So I've also seen people who schedule their day in a way that they don't do much work in office and they end up like socializing a lot, and then they go back home and do a lot of work. So I've also met designers who are like that.
Okay. And what do you feel like revisions has always been a whole lot of trouble? Like even from my end, from what I've seen, like people keep asking for revisions, and then they are not themselves sure what they want, right? It happens most of the time. So by your design process, or like whatever you do by scheduling all these sessions, do you think that helps in getting the final product out earlier, and even in the customer satisfaction?
So I feel like the revision part depends a lot on the stage of the company. If you're a very small startup, you honestly do not have time for revising a lot. You're just putting stuff out. You're a single designer, so you're just putting out stuff, and then you will revise when you actually get some feedback. In a bigger company where especially where I worked at a B2C company, so you have a lot of customers. So making a single change might change up the revenues or whatever. So there we used to do a lot of internal like feedback. I personally hated it. I did not like it at all. Because I was used to a very fast pace of working. So I did not like making incremental changes. And that is like one of the flaws I have as a designer. Like I get very annoyed when I have to make like very small changes and that are very subjective personally. So that was something I did not like at all. Now again, I'm back in a phase where I'm working for a small team, so there's not as much revision, honestly, because like revision happens when you have something and then you're trying to revise it. Like right now, we don't have that something.
Yeah.
We're focusing more time on building that, and then probably we'll get feedback and then revise stuff.
Now moving on to being like someone who likes to work alone and someone who is dishing out content and serving it on a silver platter. So how did that journey occur? Like you've been creating content on freelancing and life improvement. So what motivated you to start sharing knowledge and this experience with the world?
So back when I started freelancing, I hadn't planned on doing like freelancing. Honestly, like I think contractual work is a better term for what I was doing, because I was working with 2 companies long term, like almost a year. I worked with both the companies. And then like in the middle, I would get like smaller projects where like do these pages or like design this pitch deck or something like that. So those were more of like a freelance thing, but this was more of like contractual work. So I thought that if I want to continue freelancing and if I want to keep getting a flow of new clients, there needs to be a way that how do people know that I'm this person who does this? How will people know? So I started off with a easy, like a low friction thing, because Instagram, like video recording coming on Instagram is a lot. So I thought, let me start with something easy. And honestly, my friends pushed me a lot. They're like, just start writing. And then that whole, that time, I think it was a lot around like personal branding was like on a boom and everything. I think it still is, I'm not sure. But the kind of content I was creating, a lot of people were talking about personal branding. And then around that time, The Future by Christo, they had released some videos about personal branding and how important personal branding is. So I'm like, okay, let me try it. Like, let me try something easy where, let me try something like LinkedIn. And then I internalized it that it's okay. Like you can just delete it. Like if it does not make sense, just delete it. Nothing is permanent. So I internalized that it's okay. You can make mistakes and you can be stupid and you can write whatever you want and you can delete it. Like big deal. As long as you're not offending somebody on the internet. So yeah, that's how I started. And now I just feel like I'm so glad I started. Sometimes I feel like, why didn't I start when I was a design call? Like when I was a design student? That would have been great. Like I would have had so much like more to look back on, and then I would have learned so many things. I would have documented so many things. So I definitely feel like I should have started earlier, but I'm happy I've at least started for now.
And now that you have started it, how has your life changed? Like how like building new connections might be a part of it, talking to your audience or just answering a few questions and them, just saying, oh my God, I love your work. I just want to be with you, like be like you in the future. So how does that feel?
It's definitely very sweet. Like people who are like in my audience are very, very, very sweet. I expected people to be, bitter, and you've seen like people get so bitter on the internet. Thankfully, it hasn't happened a lot to me. Sometimes it happens, but not people who are following me. Like these are like random people who don't follow me, or like random reels that reach like random people. This is not from my own community. So I would say like the people on my community are so sweet. I am very thankful for that, first of all. Coming to the part where like, wait, I'm sorry, what else did you ask?
So, how do you feel like about your connections, about the new people you meet?
So I hate networking. I if I go to a networking event, I will talk to one person only at the whole event. Like I will catch one person and I will talk to that person in the entire event. So networking events are useless for me. I've tried multiple times. I also bought a book to how to network. Like there was a book called, I think, Captivating or something by Vanessa. Something. I'm like, how do people network? How do they make those 2 to 3 hours useful for anybody? But no, I can't. Like I just go and then I end up talking to one person the entire night and it's useless for me. So I stopped going to those. And I'm not an extrovert person. Like I don't like hanging out with a lot of people. I like to be left alone. And on a Saturday or Sunday, I would love to be left alone. Like that's all I want sometimes. So I don't do networking. Coming to like people on Instagram or like engaging with people on Instagram, in the first 3-4 months, I had got so addicted to Instagram because I was back on Instagram after 3 years.
I
was like in the middle of the night seeing, oh, I have people commented, I have people DM me. And it was stupid. I couldn't sleep. I would wake up and see, oh, how is the video doing or something like that. And I was like, this is very unsustainable because I was not getting enough sleep. I was waking up cranky. I was like falling back on work. And then that was like a vicious cycle.
Yeah.
And then like I had to keep my phone in some corner so that I could focus on work and everything. So I'm like, let me do one thing. Let me delete Instagram and I don't have to post something. I will only download Instagram. I have to post something.
Did that work out?
Yeah, I do that. Like I don't have Instagram right now.
Oh.
I only download when I have to post something. Then I'll use it for 2-3 hours. And I usually do it on a Friday night or a Saturday night so that I don't feel guilty afterwards. And that's when I actually, if I can, like reply to as many people as I can. Put up stories, like you'll also maybe see stories on my Instagram only every weekend or something. So that's definitely helped me because in the start it was like I was like addicted to seeing how the post is doing. Are people looking? Are people commenting? Yeah, it was very dumb. And then I was like, no, if this is how it's going to roll, then I'm not going to do it. So I had to really like control myself.
Okay. So I can't like personally I was way too addicted to Instagram. Are you serious? Like, can you actually do that?
I don't have Instagram on my phone.
Okay. So I feel like this is a good challenge. How about when this video goes live for the next 3 days, we try it.
What? We don't look at it.
I will try it. Like, no. I will, was like, let's ask the audience to delete their Instagrams.
Yeah.
All right. And you can do this challenge for 3 days.
Yeah.
And then after 3 days, you all have to comment how much work you've got done. And then even text it to our guest, on her Instagram. Like, how much did that help you? And maybe we'll influence someone through that.
We can definitely try it.
Yeah, because, oh my God, have you heard about that soup theory? Like the Reels one? So what happens is, just taking some time, but what happens is they tested out a theory where they fill a soup bowl, they completely with soup, and then they have randomly a tube at the bottom of the bowl. Yeah.
What?
They have a tube, from which they feed soup into the bowl.
Okay.
And when they studied how much soup did they consume, they found that they would drink a lot more if they just gradually kept adding to it. And I feel like that's the way they developed Reels, also matching bottles.
Nice.
Yeah. And that's it. Like and that's the way we get addicted. So that's a challenge for you all. 3 days without Instagram. Yeah. Now that we have on the fun side of things, I feel like this question is probably the one which is going to feel like home. Yeah. So I wanted to ask if you could design your own workspace, like completely, like you just snap and it's there. So what would that feel like? What stuff would that include, and how it would just look like? Can you paint a picture?
Yeah, definitely. So I'm not an AC person. I hate it when I have to sit in AC. So it would definitely have a lot of windows. And I'm a morning person and I love like sunlight in my room. So I would definitely have a space where like there's more of a sun room where you get a lot of light and you have like a nice bookshelf with a nice lounging sofa sort of thing where you can also take a nap, because I also take naps every day in the afternoon. So now usually I like just nap on my table, but if I had a place to nap, it would be amazing. Then I would have a section of like healthy snacks, a coffee station definitely.
Okay, can you elaborate on healthy snacks?
Okay, so I have apparently, like I'm allergic to wheat and rice, which is very hard. And then I have horrible skin too. So I'm like currently cutting all junk out from my, what do you call it, food.
That, yeah.
So, yeah, like having yogurt, having protein bars, or having like flax seeds, makhana and all of that. If I had all of that, that would be great. What else would I like? I would like a nice music system, honestly, now that I think about it. Because when I'm doing repetitive work, I like to listen to like more fun, upbeat, like music that you can sing to kind of music.
Yeah.
So I like to have a nice music system. Lights and plants is definitely something I would love to have. Huge paintings I would love to have. I would love to paint a wall with whoever, like paint it myself or paint it with if I have more people working with me or whatever. I would love to have books, a lot of books. Like I love reading and I love to recommend books to people also. So yeah, like a bookshelf for sure. And
Okay.
as I'm growing older, like I'm 28, not that old, but I just understand the importance of a good chair. So yeah,
Yeah.
chairs.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Okay. So moving back to some technical design oriented questions,
Hmm.
I feel like prioritizing functionality over form is a strong approach, right? So what's your thought process when balancing these two aspects in your work approach?
Hmm. Hmm. Okay, it depends on first of all who you're designing for. Me and my career, I have mostly like over the 3 years, like I think I've spent 60% time designing for businesses like B2B.
Hmm.
So there, I don't think they care about how user delight and nice animation and stuff. Like they care about getting the work done.
Work done,
They're
yeah.
doing very complex work and they're doing like a lot of work at once. So I care about it being scalable, the system being able to take so much load, and it being very repetitive and easy to use. And most importantly, it follows the mental models from the tools that they already use from their day-to-day lives. For example, we use a lot of Google Suite, right? Like we're all very used to Google Sheets or Drives. So I feel like inventing the wheel on like a folder system does not make sense, because they would just have
Yeah.
to learn a new system and then they would go back to Google Drive, because Google Drive does the job on fantastically well.
Yeah.
So I feel like innovating something all the time is not you don't need to do that. Like it's a waste of time as a designer, it's a waste of time as a developer, it's a waste of time as a company, honestly. So I feel like, especially when you're doing like bulk work or a lot of work, I think it's great to borrow mental models from another tool that they're already used to. Like chat, like WhatsApp, Messenger, everything is very similar. Now you don't need to try to add a whole new features just for the heck of it.
Yeah.
So I feel like that is very important. So and then like coming to form, you can still have like good form in a functional design, but there I would again like they care about getting the work done. So I'd care about that more for a B2B space. For a B2C, definitely yes. The user experience is very important, and there is like more delight and colors and all that is very important, because it's more of a preference, and plus you're competing with a lot of similar apps in the same space. So for example, if I love Blinkit, and I used to like Swiggy also, but the design wise, I would say both are doing a great job.
Yeah.
But in the end, like the user experience would matter. Like why I have shifted to Blinkit now, even though I have to pay 16 rupees every time they deliver something. I like it more because like the user experience in the actual usage is better. Like there is a larger variety of things that I can buy there. So here, design does not play such a huge role, but how effective the platform is, or how well it actually it actually satisfies my need is more important. Like that kind of user experience is more important in a very like a space where the apps are great.
Right.
So like, adding little animations over actually having the stock that people need is like does not make sense. Like I'm thinking of do people have to use 3 apps to get the things that they want? No, that's not a great user experience.
Right.
So that's how I think about it. And otherwise, like I feel like we can also like just like in the form, it's not just the app. Like sometimes companies can have more touch points with the user. So for example, you get bags from Blinkit, Swiggy, Zepto, whatever. I guess form could play a great role even there.
Right.
Yeah, and I honestly don't want to talk a lot about form because I've not designed a lot of user-facing like B2C company, and I'm not very great at animations and visual design and everything. So I would like to not like talk about that much because I don't know.
Okay, so just one question, elaborating on this one, not about form, but something more connected to you. What is that one website or that one thing which you designed that you're most proud of?
I'm very proud of what I designed in the first year of working as a product designer. Why I'm proud of it is like it's great. It makes sense. Like even after 3 years, when I look at it, I feel like like I did a good job there because it's not stupid. Like the UI is messed up and whatever, but the flows are good. The usability wise, it makes sense. So like it does not. I wouldn't say it's timeless, but at least I usually look at my work and then I start feeling like, oh, that was so bad, and then I've designed that in such a bad way. I would have done so much better now. But with that, I feel like it's still very robust. Like I could make incremental changes, but it was still 80% there when I just started out. So I'm definitely proud of that.
And that was just your first year?
Yeah, first year.
Okay. And how has that influenced the work that you do now?
What the
It's like that particular thing what you're proud of, no?
Hmm.
How is that influencing your work right now? Like, has that set a particular standard in your head? Like, yes, this is something I like, and this is something which is me,
Okay.
which represents me.
Right. So that was a dashboard like that. I was working at a company that did AR for e-commerce sites. So
Okay.
the flow that we were designing, like they used to send us a lot of 3D models. We used to make them, and then we would render them, and then they could plug it into their own website for the users to see and put it on their homes and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So the dashboard was to control the process of getting a 3D model, making a 3D model, getting it checked, rendering it, all of that. And then the other use case was they would take a lot of like we would create a lot of materials for them. Like it was a huge flow for a lot of things. How that helps me today is that was quite a complex product, like especially for a person who was just starting out, it was quite complex. And even that time, the founder was actually very clear-headed, and he knew like what the process is like, how does the operations go. Like they had been doing operations for 1 or 2 years, so they had a lot of like insights from what's getting fucked up or whatever. So it was not like we're throwing darts in the dark. Like we knew what the people wanted, so that like having a clear direction of what do we want to build was very helpful. And trying to like, it was a complex problem that you were trying to solve. Like it was a multi-step problem, so creating that, like I got a gist, like I got a feel for working on a difficult product. I was not doing like create a card here, or like interns usually in a big company will like create small cards or do some random research project, or will work on like a marketing campaign, or will design a website or something.
Yeah.
So I got like a huge chunk of work back then. So that was great. Like it set the tone for me that product design is hard and it has a lot of like edge cases and everything. So that time, that like doing that has definitely set the bar for me that like I'm now comfortable working on difficult problems.
Just like you said, that it has multiple aspects and it flows through a whole process. So what would you say, what's the favorite part, like one favorite part where you're smiling while you're working? Like what's that one
that never happens. But it's mostly like understanding the requirements and making sense of it in a product manner. Like you get a lot of like verbal information from somebody, and you like get a lot of information from a lot of people, and then like consolidating everything and making something that makes sense and getting that right as soon as possible. Like I think I take the most pride in doing what the person was thinking of in their head and like getting it down to a flow or a screen or whatever.
So like from a thought to something which is tangible,
From
which
somebody
is
else's thoughts.
Yeah.
They are explaining what they think they want and then making sense of that and delivering as accurate as what they thought it to be.
Yes. So even this thing is something which I feel most of the designers lack right now. Ki people who want some things, like the business owners, might not be clear on what they actually want and what they actually need. So, and even understanding their needs and their wants, how do you decide between these things and how do you interpret these things? Something like if they're asking for you something specific, but that doesn't fit into these design process. So what do you do then?
Ask for why do you think you need this? Or ask them, say for example, they say, okay, let's build out like a very complex folder system. Take a lot of engineering time. Just a very niche example, just for example. But I was like, I would be like, why? Explain why. Why do you think we need to make it from scratch? Like make them justify themselves. And if we can talk through it, great. Okay. If it makes sense, okay. If you still think it does not make sense, go to another product person or go to the CEO if possible. If the CEO is telling you, you have to do it sometimes. But if you can get another person who can back up this person, then sure, like do it. But sometimes like just asking and pushing back on why do you want it? Like can you verbalize more on why do you want it? Then give me a logic or what is it going to help? I think that is, and if it works out, then great, build it out. But if it doesn't work out and if they think back through it, or you can suggest some other way, you can see that if this does not work, I'm willing to do what you are saying. Like you can always let's do this and then let's do that.
So like these are some lines which we anchors use sometimes on stage if we mess something up or we do something wrong, right? So we just say like, let me rephrase that. So and something else, right? So these are some magic keywords for all of us. So like, what are some keywords when you're having a conversation with another, so like rather a client, and you want them to be more specific about it, to get like to bring out what's actually in their heads and what actually their needs are.
Yeah.
Like, do you have some magic words for those?
I'll say, walk me through it. Like, tell me how that person would do it. Like, if they were to, like, if you have a person and you want them to do something, what do you want them to do? What do you think that activity would look like? Or I would say, give me an example. If I don't understand something, I would say, give me an example for that. Or I always ask for examples, or something that they can give me an anecdote for, or something that they can compare to maybe in some other product or in real life or whatever.
Right. Okay.
And definitely compare to a drawer, or you can always mostly compare something to another physical object in the real world.
Yeah. Okay. And just like you said, let me start out with my hands. Like, I don't want to have a fear of computers and I don't want to do this. And then you ventured into this field, which needs, some really good design tools. So how was your journey through it? Like, what tools did you start with? And then what part of it did you hate? And then some tools which you actually, shortlisted, and then you're just using those now. Something like that?
So the fear of computers honestly went away in college, because we ended up using a lot more softwares than graphic designers. Like, we would use 3D softwares, presentation softwares, editing softwares, everything. So I ended up using like 7 to 8 softwares in college, like difficult softwares. 3D softwares are difficult, AutoCAD, Rhino, and all that. So the fear of like tools had gone by then, like of learning a new thing. And then later, like when I started to learn, Figma wasn't there, and I think we had Adobe XD back then, like in 2020. So I started Adobe XD, but then I eventually moved to Figma when I got the internship. So like these tools usually make a good repository of learning resources as well. So I think if you can just go through that, it's great. And I personally, I feel like learning a bunch of tools does not do much. Like you kind like it's the difference of the output is not so tool agnostic. Like you can do a little bit more with another tool, but you can like, I think, recreate like at least 70 to 80% of whatever you want to create in the tool that you're already comfortable with.
Right.
It's more about knowing the principles and the foundations.
And what's your favorite tool? Like Figma. Something which you love to Figma now?
I do everything on Figma. Like if editing, like if I have to do some micro animations, I'll do them on Figma for videos. If I have to make anything, like if I have to measure a room, I'll do it on Figma. I'll do everything on Figma these days. Apart from that, I love Notion.
For task management and everything.
I don't do so much task management. Like I do more like time management and stuff on Google Calendar, but all writing or capturing stuff I do in Notion. Like writing my thoughts, like something that has a longer thing, I do on Notion. Otherwise, tasks are all on Google Calendar.
Right. And let's come to something which the aspiring freelancers or aspiring product designers will go through. What are some of the largest faced challenges by you and your friends and people in the community? And what was your biggest challenge when you came to this career in your path?
As a freelancer or as a product designer?
Maybe you can answer as both.
Okay. So as a freelancer, I'll say that a lot of people like try to get into freelance without having much subject knowledge. Product design is not something like, say for example, I guess you could get into writing very quickly, or you can get into like as a freelance writer, you can start very quickly, or as a social media intern, I guess you can start freelancing really quickly, because these are very like it does not need so much expertise, or it does not need so much, like it's more of a trial and error thing. Versus product design, I'd say that there are a lot of moving parts in product design, plus you have to talk to a lot of people when you're getting a product built. So I would say that having experience in product design and then getting into freelance is definitely an easier path. I'm not saying it's impossible to start freelancing as soon as you get into the field, but I would say it's an easier path, and you'll get better projects when you know better. Like you know better, you're better at what you're doing. You know a little bit of systems. You know how to talk to developers. You know how to document stuff. I feel like that's way like less harder than starting to freelance on day one.
Yeah.
Because you build some credibility, right? Like if you build some credibility, getting clients will be easier, managing them will be easier, managing your time will be easier. So I feel like people should, in product design especially, or something that needs more vertical knowledge, I would say you should at least work for 2 to 3 years and then start freelancing. And as a product designer, I always tell people, like, try to work with a company who's trying to solve a hard problem. Like, don't go to a place that's ripping off design from somewhere else, or they're building something so similar that already exists in the world where you're not like really thinking much. So I always tell people that if you can find a company that is solving a hard problem, and one easy way to find them is honestly just go to people who are like from IITs or BITS who are doing this stuff. Like that's what worked for me. Like that happened for me very coincidentally. But happening that, like after that happened, getting more projects was easy because these colleges have a nice alumni network.
Yeah.
So if you have talent, they will recommend you to people and they will talk about their work. Then people are asking who did this for you or whatever. It's just easier to be in that network. So yeah, and if you can't find a good product, then definitely work with people who are very hardworking. So at least you know that, okay, like I have to work really hard. So at least you can work really hard.
Also, let's move on to something basic, so something where we have to start out is knowing what to learn, right? And how to learn it. So let's talk more about some educational resources which these guys can use, and maybe someone does not have an internship but still wants to build a good portfolio for himself so that he can put himself out there. So how can one do that? Like learning resources and putting oneself out there.
Okay. I would say I don't want to get into resources because it's a very easy Google search or a ChatGPT search. So I really I'm very people hate me for this, but I'm like, just Google it. Like, try to find your own resources. Don't be like, tell me how to start. Then you're dependent on somebody else's reply. Why do you want to be dependent on somebody else's reply to start something? You have to go on YouTube and start something. You find a video, you think it's stupid, or so you find another video. Then you find a video, you find something that you don't know, then you find something for that. So I would say I don't want to get into resources, honestly. And I encourage you to not wait on somebody to get the resources for you, because you have ChatGPT. You can tell ChatGPT to curate the best resources for me for UX design or whatever else you want to learn.
Yeah.
I would say I don't want to get into that. How to learn, I would say the approach I take these days is learning the fundamentals for something and not running after trends.
Not running after?
Trends.
Trends. Oh, okay.
Like trend is a trend because it's very short term.
Short-lived, yeah.
So yeah, if you're a web designer, sure, go for the trends. But for more product design work, like if you're going to create a date picker, it's going to be a date picker. Like it's okay. Like you don't need to like make something crazy over there. I mostly focus on more like what makes sense according to the flow. Like I focus on that, and yeah, like learn the fundamentals and then try to build on top of that. Like don't try to learn 100 different things at once. Because I see a lot of people like getting stuck in how much research should I do, or getting stuck in how much like let me learn conditional prototyping in Figma. No, you don't need all of that. You usually need like 60% of what a tool can do. So you don't need to like get into the depths of like, let me learn each and every feature of this software, or let me learn each and every software that's out there, or let me try all the AI tools that are out there. No, like you can pick like 3 or 4 and get your work done easily.
Yeah.
So I would say that like don't focus on learning a lot of tools. I would say focus on learning more about the principles. And getting like also again, reading in a void is useless unless you can apply that reading to something. So I would say like try to get work. And as for portfolio, it's getting really competitive now, honestly. So aesthetics definitely matter. I won't say aesthetics is the only thing that matters, but aesthetic is like the first break. Like if I see a ugly thumbnail, I know this person does not have any visual skills. So I will not even open that project. I look at portfolios for 5 seconds. I look at the thumbnails. If the thumbnail is well designed, it means that, okay, they have some sense of visual design. Now let me see if they have logic about product design. Because nobody has the time to teach you the fundamentals of visual design or whatever. Like whoever is hiring you, they don't have the time to do that.
Yeah.
And it's like, and this stuff is easy to learn. Like it's practice. So it shows that they haven't practiced. They haven't put any effort into this. Like creating thumbnails is like replication, honestly. So it just seems like this person is not thinking.
Yeah.
So they're not smart. Like they're not. I don't mean to demean anybody.
Yeah.
They're not thinking.
That's logical. Yeah.
Yeah, like they're not thinking that, okay, like if I have an ugly ass thumbnail, nobody's going to click on it. And can I create a new nice thumbnail? Yes, because there are thousands of thumbnails in the world. You just have to look at a nice one and replicate it for your own use case. So I feel like people who are not doing that are not very resourceful, or they're not thinking through. So I would definitely reject that. So yeah, like I feel like you have to get good at it. Takes a longer time to make a portfolio these days, and the bottom area of the UX design field is very crowded because a lot of people want to get into it. But it's more on the as you go up, like that is not like that's not crowded, or honestly like there's a lack of very good designers as you like in experience. But it's very crowded at the bottom, and to stand out these days you need to do a lot. Like you need to have good communication skills, good listening skills. And listening skills is something that a lot of people don't have. The ability to take feedback, thinking smartly. What is this person like? How is this person going to probably look at 500 portfolios. What is going to make my portfolio out? Yeah, so thinking of all of that is, and plus like getting good aesthetics is not that difficult these days because there are thousands of templates or whatever. So yeah, I would just say that you have to focus on a lot of things these days, but you also have to focus on good work and knowing what you're doing. And even if you do get into a company after that, your attitude also matters a lot.
True. And just like you said, it's very saturated at the bottom. So what are the ways to scale up? How do you scale up?
Practice a lot. Look at why is somebody else's portfolio, why is that person. There are a lot of portfolio sites who showcase Apple, like whatever, like big companies, designers' portfolios. So you can go through that. You can see why is that working. You can work on you can work on different problem statements, because these days a lot of portfolios have like redesigns of existing apps. That shows that you have not really done much. Like you've made some incremental changes, yes, but you have not thought of something from scratch.
Yeah.
Work on something that is more difficult. Other ways would be like volunteer to do some other work, maybe. I don't like, there could be a lot of ways to do it. I haven't given that much thought, but I'm telling you, the portfolios that stand out to me have good aesthetics, communication, attention to detail, and after all of that also, like if you even shortlist a portfolio, as soon as you do the first interview round, you know the person's attitude.
Yeah.
If you have a great portfolio, it's also it's very important to have a good attitude and good communication skills.
Because I feel like communication skills will be something which matter the most, because unless and until you have them, if you can't understand what the other person wants, what are you going to design yourself, right?
I'd say skill, communication. Skill to break through, and communication to, like, say I'm choosing between two who have the exact same skills, I would choose the person with better communication skills.
Right.
So still put skill on top and then communication.
And I just wanted to talk about, this is something which I personally faced. Like when I was, a little younger, I didn't value fundamentals. And now that I'm a bit more mature about it, I realize that those are the stepping stones for all of your future steps. Like those fundamentals, like let it be any subject, right? So, but I also realized that if you keep focusing on fundamentals, you'll miss out on what's the future trends, or what are the latest things in the market, right? So how can one balance these things out?
Okay. I'd say that, say for example, I've never, first of all, felt that, oh my God, I don't know that trend. I'm not able to do my work because I don't know that trend. That's never happened, honestly.
Yeah.
And if you need it at that moment, like you think that, oh, I need to put this trend in my product, or I need to put this trend on my website, then you can learn it. You don't need to preemptively learn about all the trends and everything that's been going on. You can learn something use case based. Like you need to learn something for something, then you learn it. Otherwise, why do you want to waste time on learning something that you might never use? Yeah,
true. And also, can you talk about how the process has been evolving throughout your career?
Process of?
So like the design process, or even this complete field, how has it changed? Like what are the breakthroughs, or what are some disruptions that have happened over here? Since we can even talk about pre-COVID and post-COVID.
In what?
Changed? So let's talk about a product design at it's like product design in our minds, right? So like what were the design perspectives earlier? So just when you're starting out, and now how have they changed or just been disrupted?
Mm, I don't know how to answer that honestly. I'll talk about how design changes from company to company. I don't know if designers change time period wise.
Mm-hmm.
Like there was one I read something where what did I read? There was a very nice thing that I read recently. Let me find it one second.
Okay.
So it's a very nice thing that relates to product design and how it has changed. So I'm going to read like it's a small paragraph. Everyone's software is good enough. Software used to be the weapon, now it's just a tool. In a world of scarcity, we treasure tools. In a world of abundance, we treasure taste. The barriers to entry are low, competition is fierce, and so much of the focus has shifted from tech to distribution and now to something else, taste.
Okay.
Yeah, so like it does not have to just be usable, but also taste. Again, like the taste maybe will not matter so much in a B2B context, but for consumers, for sure, like we are used to good apps now. So if something is funky, we are not going to tolerate it, like because we have 10 other options that have better whatever.
So like the competition has escalated so much that you have to be good now.
Yeah, for you can be bad and you can work at a MNC, or you can work at an Accenture, or you can work at a TCS. It's just like priorities, I think.
And it's like I wanted to ask something which is related to AI. How is that affecting the entire field?
I still feel like designers will not be replaced. Like I was very scared of that, honestly. Like first 6 months I used to think, what is the point? Like why are people coming to me? But people coming to me are people who are very busy, who have like 15 other things to do. You are going to get faster as a designer. So I feel like if you're a good designer, like you're going to like just be like a knife. You can be so sharp and you can be so fast. Bad designers will get replaced by AI because the incremental or the slow work that they're doing is going to be replaced by AI. If you're I feel like as AI gets better, I think designers will be spending less time on a tool or spending less time on Figma or whatever and doing more like strategic thinking. And I definitely feel like right now, at least the level that AI is at right now, I definitely feel like good designers can leverage a lot from AI. Like we don't need to be scared. I feel like we need to manage our time and think of bigger things to work on with AI. And automate so much of your repetitive tasks, right? Like emails, I never write emails on my own. I always, whatever written I have to send to somebody, I will write it on AI and just copy paste it somewhere. And I don't use too many tools for AI. Like there are thousands of tools, but I use only ChatGPT because I'm comfortable with it and it does a great job. Like I don't feel like, oh, I think Perplexity would have done a better job or whatever. 80% is good for me. Like I don't want to spend like 2 hours more on doing something like 100% perfectly or whatever. So yeah, I would say that. And also I use a lot of ChatGPT in honestly condensing my thoughts. Like it's a great starting point for even design. Like before I start designing, I do like a lot of chatting with it. Like it's as if like ChatGPT is my product manager or whatever. Or I'll even ask like engineering questions. Like, is this like if I had to say for example, I had to build a date picker of this sort versus a date picker of this sort, what would take less engineering?
Okay. So like even thinking beyond. Okay.
Yeah, like if you can because I work at startups, the most important thing is like speed and how accurate you can go in the first go. So I want to like if I can spend 2 hours and save 2 days of the engineer or whatever. Or if I can spend more time and like I can get less context from the product person and still design a more accurate thing for the product manager. Like they're going to be so relieved that I didn't have to like spend hours and hours explaining something to her. So it's great. Like ChatGPT can definitely fill in the gaps or something that I've not understood. And plus when you're building something difficult, you have a lot of questions that somebody else might not know either. So that's a great place where AI can come in and fill the gap for you or explain something to you in an easier manner. For example, right now I'm designing something for US sales tax, which is a complex problem. So I obviously don't know anything about US sales tax. So I do a lot of like talking to ChatGPT. So that helps in a great way.
Also, coming back to content creation and being on Instagram and all these social media platforms, what are your future plans with it? Like, where do you plan to go?
okay, this is audacious, but I realized, I read Vinita Singh's LinkedIn post where I think she talks about her son wanting to be like Virat Kohli. And then she discusses with her husband that, there's such less representation for women. Like, if a female cricketer has no, like, now they do have people, but very less people. I want to be like Smriti Mandana, or I want to be like this one or whatever. Like, you're very less like people you can identify with that, oh, like women have made it big, whatever. So, and plus then I went through my own YouTube and I saw that I relate to most women's content. Like I do watch a lot of content by men, but I feel like men are more aggressive in their approach, like working very hard or training very hard or doing something like just like very very aggressively.
Yeah.
Or like women have a softer way of doing something or more systematically. Whatever. Like I feel like definitely like men and women have their own personality and strengths and weaknesses and whatever. So I just feel like I personally relate to more content by women. And I want to encourage more women to work because like I'm a Marwadi and coming from a third-tier city, like the goalpost for us was like getting married at 25. That has definitely changed now because of social media and everything. But like I'm 96 born, so like I got my phone at 17. Like I got my first phone at 17. Yeah, so like it was like marriage and everything was very common. Yeah, we have to get married. Okay, what are you planning at 30? I don't know. Like I'll be married, so whatever my husband will be doing at that time or whatever. Like it's like that, right? Like you can join your husband later, or if your family allows you to work, you can work. So like that's something I want to like break. Honestly, like I just feel like, and plus, women who don't work feel like, oh, I wish I was a working woman and life would have been so easy. No, like working is hard and it takes a lot of time and a lot of effort. So I want to normalize hard work, and then I also want to encourage, like not encourage, and I don't mean to be a preachy person, but at least do it myself so that if people resonate with that, they can like, oh, if she can do it, I can do it.
Yeah. I feel like this question will put it like a whole conversation to a good full circle. How can people start out?
Start. Does not have to be perfect. Does not have to be the well-written, like you're going to put out like thousands of pieces online, right? 90% of them are going to be bad. So start with the bad one, big deal. You can delete it.
Yeah.
And we think people are thinking of us, but have you ever thought of a reel that you saw one day on Instagram? Have you ever thought about that person? Oh my God, that person was so embarrassing. No. They think it's embarrassing, big deal. You're never going to meet them in person. And honestly, like the biggest thing is to start in front of a lot of people that you know. So I created a new account and started where I had no friends or no family or nothing. I started on a new account, like from scratch. So it was like, okay, like if somebody watches me, they watch me because they like me. So it's not like I'm trying to, like I don't have to be like there's not a audience that knows me a lot and they're trying to judge me or anything. So yeah, like start from a new account if you want.
And when you started from a new account, you must have gotten some feedback, right? Some other way. So how did that influence, like that feedback? Was it something like, oh, shit, I hadn't thought of that at all? It was like, okay, I saw this coming and I know I need to improve this. So like, are any situations like those?
No, like on Instagram and stuff, you don't get like a lot of like feedback or like if it is feedback, it will work. And plus, it's so unpredictable that you cannot tell, honestly. At least I can't tell for now what is going to work or what is not going to work. All I care about is like writing better or editing better. Again, that also needs to be time boxed. Like I make sure that I'm not spending more than 2 hours to do something. Whatever it is at 2 hours, I will post it. Because you can keep incrementally making it better. Like you can keep adding more sound effects. You can keep color grading. You can keep doing a lot of it. But Instagram is a very like a I think it's like more hits.
Yeah.
Like, keep putting a lot of stuff out and then something you'll figure a pattern out and then go hard on the pattern. But that's what I'm trying to do personally, like put out as much as I can physically possible and then see what is working or what's not working. And I think for me right now what's working is like people like the honesty. I think I don't know what it is honestly. Like this is my personality. I think people are resonating with the personality. So I think that's working for me for now. Can't tell what is going to work on.
So I feel like that's a good interpretation because I feel like whatever is like your thought process, like talking about everything about this, even the way you look at life, I feel like that's a good person to have, just look at and then be inspired by. It's like suddenly I'm feeling that
That's
might
so
be
sweet.
that might be a good analysis, man.
Yeah, I do get a lot of messages. It's very sweet. They say
Hmm.
that it is, oh, that was so relatable. Oh, like how can you say that? How are you not
Hmm.
afraid of people judging you, whatever? So yeah, like that's great. I love it if somebody can take that away from whatever I'm putting out.
Okay. So, will as like apart from just that, would you like to give a message to all those who are watching right now? Like
Hmm.
some way, so like for example, I asked this to a lot of people who have achieved a lot, So it sometimes depends on if you have a pathway. If
Hmm.
you give them a starting point, like what might be that one starting point for them, where they just do that and then they can choose their own path.
Mm. Uh, I think like picking out what your strengths are. Like sometimes when you're at an absolute low, you feel like I have no strengths. Like what
Yeah.
strengths do I have? But you do have strengths. Or talk to your friends or talk to your parents. Like they can almost always identify that, oh, you've always been a creative person, or you've been a sporty person, or you
Mm-hmm.
like to talk a lot, or you like to do something. So I think you can identify one area that you're good at. And then like you say, right, like teaching a fish to climb a tree is going to like it's not possible. So I think
Yeah.
like playing to your strengths would be nice. So I guess you could go with starting off with what is your natural likings, or what do you naturally like, or what do you naturally
Mm.
dislike, or what is something that your friends will be like, oh, in my case, Mufat. Like they'll be, oh, Shreya is Mufat. Like so, like you get like some of the things, right?
Yeah.
Like you get a lot of personality traits from people who, like, if you think of a person, what personality do you think of? Like you can ask
Mm.
your friends that definitely. So maybe identifying what your strengths are and then playing to those strengths. And these days, like we're getting like we have jobs that did not exist ever.
Yeah.
I think like you can go to a lot of stuff, and like you can go online and see a lot of more new jobs that you would have never heard of when you were trying to apply for college. So I
Yeah.
feel like there's a lot more that you can choose from these days. So maybe being more curious about what's out there to see, like, do I fit in this, do I fit in that, and being patient. Honestly, like you're gonna have to try something for at least 6 to 8 months or a year sometimes to figure out. So you're not going to sit one day and it's not going to come to you that, oh, I think I'll be good at that. No, you'll have to do it for at least a
Yeah.
year, figure out if you're good at it. Plus, there's a great like thing where Leila Hormozi and Alex Hormozi talk about, like, you're in the phase where you don't know something, then you start learning, you feel like, oh no, I know a lot. Then you go to like,
Mm.
oh my god, there's so much more that I don't know. Then you start getting better at it. And then you're at a level that, okay, now I can do this. Now let me move on to the
Yeah.
next. So I think that everybody has to go through it. Like, and
Mm.
then I like that these days I love the fact, I love a phrase which is chipping away, which is like
Chipping
just
away.
chipping away. Like it's like you're
Uh-huh.
slowly chipping away at something. You're slowly making progress at something, because you can never have a full like even like in your entire life, you're not going to be the best at all the
Mm.
things that are there out there in the
Yeah.
world. There are thousands of things and thousands of skills and thousands of things. You can't be the best at everything. You can just try
Yeah.
to make a little bit progress while you're here. Like I feel like chipping away at something at all times.
Mm. Is there something which you would like to say, which we haven't talked about in this comprehensive video? Is
Hmm.
there something would you like to say which is really important, something which needs to be in the audience's minds?
I would say like I think we think of work as a bad thing. Like people, I get a lot of people saying, why are you working so hard, or why are you working so late, or why.
Hmm.
I would rather not do anything else for now, because I'm getting great feedback there. Like I'm getting good at something, I'm seeing I'm getting good at something, I feel like doing more of it. What else would I do? Go for a party or go drink alcohol, or I don't know. Like what are you think? Like people think that I'm giving up my life to do work. But what are you doing with that life that you have? Scrolling on
Hmm.
Instagram. What are you doing? Like I just feel like, what are you doing with the time that you feel like you have to give up to do work?
Yeah.
And work can be like, if you're working with great people or you're working on something that is making you better, that's fun. Like that's a lot of fun in its own way. So I feel like you can definitely see work as fun, and you don't need to like divide it and feel like work is serious. Oh, I love to say this because I don't know how it came to my mind, that be sincere, not serious. Like, you don't have to be a serious person while working. Like, you can be a sincere person while working. You can have a lot of fun while working. You can do a lot of bakchodi while working.
Yeah.
So like I think a lot of like youngsters feel like, oh my god, like working is so.
Oh my god, I have to work.
Yeah, I have to work, and working is so sad, and oh, why would I work on a weekend? Like, yeah. So I just feel like, what else would you be doing? Like, might as well get better at something.
Okay, so I feel like that's a really good approach. But if I ask you, if you wouldn't be working as you're working right now in this field, what else would have you chosen?
Now I feel like I could have chosen content, but I would never have thought that like before. Like, I did my own Instagram. Now I feel like I could have chosen content and helped somebody out in marketing and content side. Yeah, that's what I think. I think I could be good at like organizational stuff. Like, if I had to be like a executive assistant or something, like I'm a meticulous person, so I feel like I could like manage time and organizational work. I think I could be good at. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Haven't thought about it actually.
So are you planning to venture into any of this?
No. I feel like there's so much more that I can explore with product design. Like, product design is a huge field, and it's very new in India. So I feel like I have a little bit like of a first mover advantage almost. So I feel like if I just keep going hard on this, I found it. Like, I like this now. Like, when I was doing furniture design, I was always used to feel like, is there more? Is this it? Is this the one? Now I feel yes, like product design is the one. And then I like to pursue things, which is I'm not even making my design channel only about design. I like to also read a lot of philosophy or watch people talk about their own life and everything. So yeah, like I want to have a mix of different things, because as humans, we're not like one thing. We are a lot of things. We need to do a lot of things. So I always think like, maybe I like this now, maybe I might like something else in the future. And that's how I want to go. Like, I don't want to confine myself. I will only do this for the rest of my life.
Yeah. Also, like I was hosting for Accenture once in my college, and they have this tagline like we want to be at the forefront of change and then 360-degree value. They have these mottos, and then I asked the managing director, Mr. Ankur Bhandari sir, that being at the forefront of change also gives you a lot of opportunities, or limitless, design thinking, or limitless opportunities. But it also comes with a disadvantage that you don't know any trajectories, right? Where do we need to go? Like, there's no reference points on has that worked before, or there's not enough research. Like, is this happening with you? Like, how do we trajectorize this progress?
I feel like I'm a very like a small person at a small company, so I don't feel that like I'm like doing something that nobody has done before. I'd never feel like that. I can't answer that.
Okay.
I think for them, I think they're a huge company who can make a lot of impact. I think that definitely matters to them. I'm not there yet.
Okay, but I'm pretty sure that you're going to be one day, because one day they're going to be like, oh yes, I want to become Shreya once I grow up,
I would love that. Also, but touching on this point, I don't believe in legacy or anything. Yeah, I feel like I don't get like why people work so hard to leave a legacy. I just feel, for myself, I feel like I'm going to work out to see how life will pan out for me. I don't ever worry about like, oh, I want my name to live like longer than I'm dead, because I'll be dead. Nobody will care. Like, I'll be dead, and how will it matter to me?
Man.
Something I think I'm like, why will I work for like my name to live on after I'm dead? I only want to work to see how, just for myself.
But at least, do you want your work to be there? No? Okay. But I feel like in some way it is still going to be there, because you will inspire a lot of people, right?
That'll be great, but that's not something I strive for. Like, I don't feel like, I feel like, first of all, you forget everything. Like, everything is forgotten or taken for granted. Like, you get so used to it that you don't feel like, oh, this is so novel. Like, now we're so used to traveling in metros, we don't marvel at, oh wow, like the person who designed this must be such a genius. No.
Yeah.
So I feel like, what is the point? Like, people forget, people move on, people die, you will die, nobody will remember. Like, that's my whole thing in life. Like, nobody's gonna remember anything, just do whatever the fuck you want.
Has philosophy helped you in product design in some way?
Definitely. Because I feel like there's no point to attach something to your self-worth and think of, oh, they dislike my design, so they must dislike me as a person, or I'm such a stupid person that I designed this stupid thing. No, like, I just feel like stop taking yourself so seriously is my life motto. Or even like friends, I can't be friends with people who get offended very easily. Yeah, all my friends are like super offensive. Like, we can all offend somebody so easily. But yeah, like, that's the people or kind of people I hang out with. People who don't take themselves seriously. Because it's hard to be around people who take stuff too seriously. Like, you can't have fun then.
True. And I feel like that's happening all around. Like, people are so offended at anything at this point. But I feel like, if I was around you, and then it's like, if we were in same college, we would have been like definite friends, bro.
I was a very introverted person in college, so I don't know. Yeah. Right now, all my friends are through work, honestly. Like, now I've become such good friends with them that now they're my friends. I did not consider them friends in office because I used to think like, okay, you're my colleague. But after office, it continued and we continue to be friends. I would say now we're friends. But yeah, like, but point is, like, what is the point of taking everything so seriously? Like,
bro. So, Shreya, I was like, it's been such a journey right now. And even just a shout out to my directors, man. Like, the podcast I've been hosting, the guests they've been bringing over here. I felt like I'll be just talking about design, and then how does this work? How does that work? But it honestly feels like a journey, like someone starting out, someone budding out, then their progress. And honestly, knowing about someone's thought process is something I strive for, like those deep talks kind of things. And even the designers out there, I feel like they can learn a lot from, not just focusing on one singular aspect, then moving around and having a comprehensive knowledge.
Yeah. Plus, I feel like we all have our types. Like, a lot of people are teaching a lot of the same stuff, but we tend to stick with people who we resonate with more on the personal way of, like, maybe the way they talk, or maybe the way they present something. Like, somebody could be talking about Figma in like a lot of different ways, but maybe you will stick to something that maybe more resonates with your communication or the references that they're giving, maybe. Okay.
I feel like this is going to be so much fun for them to edit. I feel like I wish I could be part of the editing process, man.
Editing is fun, but I don't think editing such a long video is fun. Honestly, I don't think it is. I think editing short form stuff is definitely more fun.
I'm trying to venture out into all of this. Like, that's one of the reasons I'm with Kevlar right now. Like, they inspire me, bro. They put in a whole lot of effort.
What does it mean?
Kevlar is a name we came up with. It's like the directors came up with the Kevlar Studios, and then I feel like this is a question which Zupi and this Ahan can answer much better.
Zupi is a personal name?
No. It's Arito Roy. Okay. He goes by the tag of Zupi. Okay. So like the Gen Z persons like us, like we used to have those Discord tags, right?
Oh my god.
So like those are the tags we remember the names by.
Oh, okay.
Like, that's how we first met on Discord, and then now we are like on like WhatsApp and everything on real name basis. So there's this thing going around, it's like it's been always part of Discord's culture, where it's like you do not reveal your real name, and it happens. It's like nothing happens.
So
but it's like I know.
Why?
It's a thing. Like, even when I got onto Discord and all of these platforms, like I think it's more dependent due to like you having a gaming tag. Like, you remember those old Call of Duty people would never use their own names, right?
I feel like Gen Z has this like, oh, you want to be mysterious, and they will. Like, if I see Gen Z people's Instagram, I'm like, what is this random photo of like this random like half-eaten crossover that you've taken? And then I never understand the thought process behind that.
Yeah,
I'm trying to drop little hints that like, so cool. You won't know what you're thinking.
Bro,
Can you tell me, Shreya, how did you go from a person who is an introvert to being someone who is really good at public speaking now?
I hate public speaking. I hate it. Creating content is not public speaking, first of all. Creating
Yeah.
content is sitting in a room and making something. Public speaking is like talking in front of
Yeah.
people staring at you. So
Hmm.
I feel like that's definitely very different. And plus on content creation, like a person is watching a reel alone. Like they're not like trying to watch a group. A group is not watching a
Hmm.
reel like a projector or something. So I feel like content creation is talking one-on-one, more of like I
Hmm.
create content from the point of view of like I'm talking to a person, like a single
Hmm.
person. Versus like public speaking, I
No.
had to do it like day before yesterday in a company event. Oh my god, so horrible. Then I thought, big deal, like I'll fuck up. What is the big? I always like try to like reprogram that. This is not the last talk I'll be giving, or even if it is, then if I'm giving the last talk, I'm probably going to die soon, so nobody's going to remember anyway. So I just like keep rephrasing that nobody is sitting and looking at me and making notes about how dumb I am. So I just feel like it's okay. I'll do it.
So if you just
I'll do it better.
If you're going down that spiral hole, it's like these are the phrases which help you, right? Like the fuck cares.
Yeah, fuck it. Like who cares? With me, like big deal. It's always like big deal. क्या ही है? मतलब क्या ही हो जाएगा? Yeah, क्या ही हो जाएगा is my favorite term.
So like that's your mental talk.
Yeah.
क्या ही हो जाएगा?
What is going to happen? You like at max, like at a job you'll get fired, or in life you will die. That's all.
But doesn't that scare you?
What can you do? Like what when you fight death? Like what will you do?
Okay, well, it's like I have to get acquainted to that. I'm very scared of that.
I'm scared of other people's death. Like I'm scared of like my parents or my family members or my friends passing away. But I'm not scared about me dying.
Nah,
I won't remember. I don't have to face it. I'll be gone.
I'm scared about what if I don't do enough before I die.
I used to feel that when I was younger. But now I feel like there is never enough. Like there is never enough that you can do. Like you could just keep doing and doing and doing and doing. But yeah, like how much would you do? Or okay, if you have 10 years more, how much more would you do? Okay, I don't. Yeah, like I just don't. I can't think of people who think of legacy. Like I can't relate to that. So maybe like that's definitely. I'm sure it's a very valid thing to feel. Personally, I don't feel it sometimes, and I think it's like. I know people who do feel that way. Like I know a lot of founders who feel like, oh, like the world depends on like how good of a something we can make. They end up taking so much stress, and they feel like, like I'm responsible for this huge thing. Yes, they're doing a lot of work, and they don't need this added stress of feeling like fuck, I'm not doing enough in my life. So I feel like if you can possibly remove that for yourself, that'd be great. Because how is it helping you? Like sure, it definitely helps you motivate and do whatever, but constantly thinking that I don't think is helping anybody.
Yeah. Also one last thing, like I feel like you're a good person who can answer this. How do you differentiate between motivation and consistency? Being really consistent is hard, and motivation is, I personally feel, it's the most toxic thing which a person can have, because it's so short-lived if you don't back it up by discipline and consistency.
I don't know. Well, I don't know how motivation and consistency go together, but I just feel like if you're getting results, you're going to do more of it, and until you get results, maybe you can make a system that will help you be consistent so that you get the results, so that you're motivated on your own. For me, accountability works. Like for me, like going to the gym was very hard. Like I never went to the gym before. So having a personal trainer helped me in the first like 3-6 months. And then when I started seeing results, I didn't need that personal trainer to be like sitting on my head that are you coming to gym? Are you coming to the gym? Like I'm seeing the results, so I was more motivated. Right now, that's what's happening to me with work. I'm seeing results, so I'm more motivated to do something.
Yeah.
So I think like you have to like, if you can't find a system to be accountable until you can get results, maybe you can use another like sort of motivation where you're rewarding yourself, or you're again find a way or find the personality that you have, where some people get motivated by negative what do you call it?
Feedback.
Then they're like, no, मैं करके दिखाऊंगा अभी.
मैं तो नहीं सहता.
Right. So like you have to find out what personality works for you, and then you can find somebody to either like a friend to work with you or something. If you're doing something, say you want to go to the gym, maybe you can find a fun way to do it with your friend. It's, I think, identifying what works for you, what kind of a personality you have. And I think it's hard to find what personality you have. Like now I know what will work for me. Now at 28, I feel like, okay, yes, now I know myself, or now I know how to talk to myself, or reason with myself sometimes. And I think that takes some time, and which is why I feel it's very important to spend time alone also. A lot of people don't like spending time alone, or when we're spending time alone, we spend a lot of time on the phone or something.
Yeah.
So I think it's good to have boring. I wouldn't say being bored is difficult too, but reading is great, or listening to something that you resonate with is great.
Yeah.
But knowing how to spend time alone is very difficult to finding out what personality you have, and then going to how to get motivated, or how can I motivate myself knowing that I have this kind of personality.
Yeah.
Identifying your personality or knowing how you think or what you think or what matters to you is very difficult. Very important to motivating yourself.
And another thing which is very controversial but needed, what factor has money played in this entire journey?
Confidence. Definitely. I was so underconfident when I was not able to survive properly here in Bangalore. Earning 25,000 was not doing anything for me. It was why am I doing this? Why? What should I tell my parents? Why am I not getting married? Because I'm earning 25,000 a month. I'm even borrowing money from my parents. So how am I going to sustain myself? But once I knew, yes, I can sustain myself. I can tell my parents to back off for now, that this makes sense and I'm going to make more with this, and wait. With furniture, and I was not seeing that. So I did not have the confidence to back my, to tell my parents to wait or whatever.
Yeah.
So now they know that, okay, she'll manage. We don't have to care about, we don't have to constantly sit on her head and get her married or whatever. Now they know that, yes, now she can take care of herself. So confidence. And if I was giving advice without me having I don't even want to give advice to anybody, honestly, but I'm just saying that why would somebody listen to me if I was barely making it in Bangalore? If I was, it was I'm struggling and I don't know what to do. Sure, people would relate to it, but then it wouldn't go in the way that, okay, I want to do what she's doing.
Yeah. So it won't, the respect would be, a bit less.
More than others' respect, I feel self-respect. Now what something I'm saying has more leverage in my own head. I feel okay, I'm not talking nonsense because I have evidence for it.
Yeah.
So that's definite. And I don't want to say that money will give you everything, but money will definitely give you confidence. And that's one skill that if you learn how to make money or whatever, if you learn, if you make your skills valuable enough that people are willing to pay you, it's also feedback that you're good at what you do, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's more confidence for you that, okay, yes, this is working for people, or I'm getting good, which is why people are willing to pay me. So it gives you more confidence in your own skills, and then you're more confident about pitching yourself to others, and then that loop goes on where, so confidence for me.
And that's an amazing answer. And I feel you have thus a great blend of knowing what, rather, I can see that, you are very clear-headed on knowing what to do, and then sorting it out, organizing, as you said, and then going on to execution without focusing on perfection, so that you can get it on in time.
Yeah. So some of these qualities were horrible for me when I was younger. The third part is impulsivity. I was so impulsive that I would make stupid decisions without thinking of second order effects or what would happen out in the future. Like I said, it has taken a lot of time to actually figure out what works for, what parts of my personality work for me, or what parts of my personality are still very, what do you call it, not stable enough that I need to take a step back. And when I'm in these situations, I need to take a step back and not react immediately. So I've identified that over time.
Man, okay. So any closing notes, whatever you would like to say to the audience?
Don't take yourself so seriously, or don't take anything else so seriously.
We'll just die one day.
Everybody will die one day.
Yeah. So, good podcast. And I feel this is the one I'm sharing to a lot of my lazy friends.
Oh.
I'm going to be See, bro, be inspired. Work, man. Yeah.
Everybody is lazy, man. You're just like, you find something that works for you, you get good feedback, then you want to do more of it. Like, it's a lot of like that. A lot of people are motivated by themselves, but like I think 95% or 99% are not. And then I think it's just like trying till you find something nice that will give you a good feedback. And then you can like be lazy but still be motivated when you find something that, like, because you want to do it. It's giving you like good vibes or whatever. Like it's giving you dopamine because you're getting good at it slowly. But patience, like you need patience and time.
I feel like at this age, that's hard. Like I can't be patient.
That's the problem. Yeah, like at 24 or 23 or 22, we all feel like life is so short, and at 30 we're going to get so old. And what's going to happen after 30? My life is going to be over. I think we all used to think that when we were 22.
Yeah.
And then now, honestly, now you feel like at 28, I'm telling you what I feel like. I feel like I know what I like. I know what I don't like. I know what kind of people I like, what people I don't like. I have a good relationship with my family because now they trust me. At that age, even our parents don't trust us so much because we don't trust ourselves and we are very impulsive and all over the place. But at 28, you kind of have all of those things figured out. So now you don't have to like, you do have a lot of other things you need to care of. You need to take care of, but you have figured that out kind of. Like, you know that, okay, like this is the direction I want to go to. This is the kind of people I want to spend my time with. This is what I want to do with my free time. And okay, now my family knows my personality and I don't have to explain stuff to them all the time, or I don't have to keep fighting with them for something. Then you can focus on a lot. And then, like, if you see people who have done like crazy stuff in their 40s, I think I'm very excited to see what my life is going to be like when I'm 40 or whatever. So it does not feel like it's the end of my life. Honestly, I feel like now I know what I know, and now it's going to ramp up. You know how to manage time better, and you remove bullshit from your life basically. Like at 22 and 23, you're trying to get a lot of validation by doing a lot of stupid stuff that you don't like going to parties, or you identify stuff that you like to do with your free time and you don't like to do. And that happens in the age like when you get out of house, you finish college, then you have some money to spend, then you try a lot of different things. All of that takes like till 25, 26, you're trying a lot of things. You figure out that, okay, I like this, I don't like this, I like this, I don't like this. Like a lot of trial and error is going on in that stage.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of that is gone after like 28. At least that's what I feel.
So would you have done something differently when you were 22?
Would I have done something differently? Now I feel like since my life is where I want it to be or whatever, like it's going well for me right now, I feel like no. But I definitely feel like I could have like worked on my writing or worked on, how I consume information or whatever. But I don't know, like if I change things, then things would be very different now. So I don't know. So yeah. Differently also. Yeah, I feel like no, I don't know. No, I don't feel like it. Right now, no, I can't think of anything. I'm pretty happy I am right now.
So I just got a text from Zupi. Stings, like you have like 3. Okay, like I'm using the tags again. I just realized I don't know like Sting's real name yet.
Oh my god. Interesting.
Even my contact numbers are just saved like Sting Kevlar. Yeah. So yeah, I guess they've got a lot of content and we are done, right? So we can. Do you want to see something else? I feel like.
No, I'm done.
Covered, yeah.
My room is a mess. I've just put all my shit from here on the bed.
Same.
Yeah.
I just got home. Oh fuck.
Right now.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess we can just straight up leave. They're busy with content writing.
Nice talking to you. You asked them.
Yeah. Yes. And it's been a help for me as well.
Like 1 minute 33. 1 hour.
Ooh.
Good luck, editors.
Yes.
Yeah, they're gonna hate.
And also, like, you've been really inspiring.
Oh.
And like one thing I'm going to take away from this is just start and keep working.
And you're gonna die.
What? I'm going to die. Yeah. So just thank you on behalf of Kevlar and personally as well, because I'm going to implement this and I'll let you know what I change.
Nice.
Already
very
keep pushing
confident.
out content, and I'll see you there. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Good night. Good night.
Good
Good
night.
night. भाई